Good morning, students. Today is 1st May, Saturday, and our topic is separation of substances. In that lesson, we have studied about how we separate to the substances from each to other. Okay, now in our previous class, we have discussing about the methods of separation of substances. In that method, we have get 4 types of methods by separating of the substances. The first method. Separating solids from the other solids. Second is separating insoluble solids from liquids. Separating soluble solids from liquids. Separation of liquids. In our previous class, we have studied about the first first method, separating solids from the other solids. In that method, we have discussed about the hand picking and the threshing, winnowing and sieving. We have done the hand picking and threshing. Now today we are going to talk about the winnowing. Okay, now let's discuss on that. What is winnowing? The grains obtained after the threshing. Contains chaff. Chaff what? What chaff? Dry covering on the seeds. Dry covering of the seeds. Small pieces of stalks, etc. Okay, now, chaff is lighter than the grains. So when the mixture of grains and chaff is allowed to fall from a great height, the wind blows away the chaff. The grains, being heavier, fall down almost vertically, forming a separate heap away from the heap of the chaff. The process of separating chaff from the grains by the action of wind is known as what? Is known as winnowing. Now the second point is sieving. Second point is what? Last point of the last method is sieving. Okay, now when the components of the mixture are of different sizes, they can be separated by sieving. A sieve has a pores, though which smaller components of the mixture passes while the bigger ones are left behind. It allows particles of a certain size to pass through the pores. Wheat bran can be separated from flour using this method. The flour particles being finer passes though the sieve, which bigger bran particles are left behind. Sieving is also used to separate stones from the sand and construction sites. The mixture of the sand and the stones is allowed to pass through a sieve. Sand passes through the sieve, while stones remains on the sieve. Okay, now it's time for your homework. What is component? You have to tell me what is component. Thank you, class.